We want to thank all of those participating on this live briefing. And today we have two extremely special guests. We have an officer, Michal Frankel, from the Public Diplomacy Office of the IDF. And those who are participating, who are friends of IDF, we know Michal Frankel from the past, where FIDF Live really featured her when she was involved in the Department of Innovation and Technology of the IDF. And it's an honor to have her. And we have the honor and blessing of having Major General Nadav Padan, who's going to be addressing us from the field. Major General Nadav Padan will be giving us an update over what's been happening over the last couple of days and what we will be seeing in the next couple of days. At this point, if we can hand it over to Michal Frankel.
Hello, nice to meet you. Happy to be here again. I want to take this opportunity and give you an operational update on what has been going on in the last day, actually today, and just a reminder of our goal. Our goal is to make sure that the horrors of 7th of October can never happen again. In order to do so, Hamas and its capabilities must be destroyed. And again, as you all know, we are acting in accordance with international law and in accordance with our moral values. This is, of course, the difference between us and Hamas. So the IDF has been operating proactively to dismantle Hamas, eliminate the ongoing threat it poses, and bring home the hostages held in Gaza. Our war mission is dismantle Hamas, secure our borders, bring our hostages home. This is a core priority for us. We continue to act on all fronts and anywhere in the Middle East to protect our security interests and the people of Israel, of course. And again, just saying, as we all know, Yahya Sinwar, for us, is a dead man walking, the face of evil, the mastermind behind the massacre, and his timer is over. So what is going on in Gaza and the border area? So what you can see today is combined ground, air, and naval operation against Hamas terrorist targets and operative continuing in the Gaza Strip. We see fierce close quarter in the urban warfare, one of the deadliest warfare that we have ever had. And until now, we can say that there is an encirclement of Hamas forces in the Gaza city. Attempted attack on IDF troops from tunnels and buildings. They are hiding there, just like mice. They are shooting at our soldiers from tunnels and not having the brave to fight them face to face. And again, returning of all hostages home is a core priority for the IDF. This is a complex urban warfare, close quarter combat between our troops and Hamas terrorists. I want to say just briefly, maybe you've heard about the hit that the IDF has had in an ambulance. The IDF troops identified a Hamas terror cell using an ambulance near their position in the battle zone. The ambulance was hit. A number of Hamas terrorists were killed. Hamas methods of operation is to transfer terror operatives and weapons through ambulances. Just like he uses his population as human shields, he uses also so-called legitimate targets like ambulances at its service. And so FYI, for all of us to know, this is under international law. Ambulances can be targeted if used for military purposes and present immediate threat. The threat of terror attacks from Gaza remained. We have had ongoing rockets attack against southern and central and northern Israel. Just today, 70, counting from the beginning of this war, approximately 9,000, and taking under consideration approximately 10% of those were failed launches. Some of them fell inside the Gaza Strip, about 800 of them. So this is a threat also for the Gazans living there. Regarding humanitarian aid, the humanitarian aid from Gaza civilians continue to enter into the Strip. 36 trucks entered on Friday with international humanitarian aid, total of 410 since the beginning of war. We're talking about medicine, we're talking about water, food, and anything needed. Regarding the northern arena, large and strong deployment of IDF troops are there along the northern border. Attacks along the border continue on Friday. We have had anti-tank missile fired towards an IDF post. Artillery fire was shot in response. On Thursday, we have had rocket fire at Kiryat Shmona and Tzfat. Civilian injured, and the IDF struck Hezbollah infrastructure in response. This is the IDF policy. We will attack and respond to whoever is attacking us. Today, we have had rockets launched from the north, anti-tank missiles fired towards Metula, and IDF aircraft struck military infrastructure belonging to the Hezbollah terrorist organization in Lebanon. And, you know, until now, we have had thousands of Israeli refugees in their own country. I can talk about my own sister who lives in Kibbutz Kevim. Her whole community, all of the kibbutz was moved to Mizra Kibbutz, and tens of thousands of Israeli civilians evacuated from the northern communities also. In Judea and Samaria, 3 Hamas terrorists were neutralized in Nablus during an arrest on Friday, and an aircraft struck armed cells in Jenin when they hurled explosive devices. I want to give you, I'm sure you see the numbers, just a reminder of the statistics. We have had up till now 1,400 dead, about 5,400 wounded, fallen soldiers. Unfortunately, the number today is 347. We have had the Israeli spirit, we have seen it, over 300,000 reservists drafted into the IDF. Some of them came without even being invited, and this is just the Israeli spirit. We have confirmed hostages 241 and dozens of missing persons. And this is just the statistics. I want to say something important about the psychological terror. We have been witnessing Hamas use cynically footage and images of our hostages in order to inflict on us psychological terror. So this is something we are aware of. We encourage people not to share those kind of movies, and we want to remind everyone that is seeing those footage what happened on the 7th of October. They were not handed cookies and coffee at that time. And last word, maybe regarding the humanitarian aid. Israel is proactively seeking to reduce the impact on the people of Gaza despite Hamas attack. The IDF spokesperson goes online most of the days, 2 times a day or even more, speaks and he tells the Gazans to go south to an area which is safer for them. Hamas, on the other hand, is killing his own population, his own civilians, and making them stay in the north where it's more dangerous for them. So Hamas is responsible for the people of Gaza and for their life. So this is something that I just wanted to share regarding the humanitarian aid. And this is the most recent update for me. So I'm here if you have any questions. Thank you.
Lieutenant Colonel Franco, thank you very much. 2 questions that members of Friends of the IDF have for you. One is if you can give an update on the sealing off of the tunnels, and obviously we're dealing with hundreds of kilometers of tunnels underground, how that is going. And number 2 is the IDF announced that since the ground attack has started, there have been 2,500 targets that have been targeted. If it's possible to elaborate on the nature of those targets, again, that may not be possible, but to elaborate for the sake of our participants, the nature of some of the areas that have been targeted and what's been targeted.
Well, you asked me questions that are very, very good, sir. Unfortunately, it's difficult for me to answer both of them because they specify our tactics and our combat methods and what our soldiers are doing down there. and I definitely wouldn't want to elaborate. I can just say regarding the tunnels that, of course, our commanders and soldiers, once they are located now inside the Gaza Strip and meet face to face with the terrorists, and once they, see the tunnels, they of course do whatever they can to make sure they will be destroyed. But I cannot elaborate on exactly how and what are the methods and what will be the end goal. So we'll let them fight and do whatever they know they need to do. Also, regarding the second question, I'm very sorry, it's not something I can elaborate on.
We understand and we respect that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lieutenant Colonel Frankel, we're very grateful to you and thank you for that briefing.
Thank you.
At this point, if we could turn to Major General Nadav Padan.
Hi, how are you? Can you hear me, Steve?
Yes, we can hear you well, Major General.
So I'll add that when you maneuver into Gaza, you have to deal with all the dimension of fighting the maneuver, from the subterranean to the ground maneuver to the naval maneuver and the air maneuver. So while the soldiers are moving forward and extending their existence inside Gaza Strip over the last few days, they are fighting on the ground and under the ground, the subterranean. So to your question, there is an ongoing fight at the subterranean of Gaza Strip while we're speaking right now. Hundreds of soldiers are fighting, exposing those tunnels, fighting and destroying the doors and the way and the ability of the Hamas terror organization to use it effectively. To the other question, I would say that from the very beginning, we the IDF declared that we are not fighting the people of Gaza. We're fighting Hamas and the Islamic Jihad as terror group. So I'm saying it regard to the humanitarian effort that's been mentioned, and I'm saying it as answer to your question, what we are targeting, what we're doing. So we're trying to destroy the Hamas military terrorist infrastructures, the Hamas leadership infrastructures, and all those areas that produce part of the military equipment of Hamas, from rocket to mortar and improvised explosive devices. That's what we are targeting. When the IDF declared that they already attacked over 1,200 targets, all those targets are terrorist targets and leadership targets. None of them are civilian targets, although we are saying parallel to that the Hamas using his own population as human shield. We're saying that the Hamas have its own headquarters cached under hospitals and under schools. So the meaning that the Hamas have bunker and headquarters under Shifa Hospital, for example, that's been exposed by the IDF spokesperson, doesn't mean that we are attacking directly the hospital. IDF didn't lose the value of the Jewish people, didn't lose the spirit of the IDF, and still acting up to the international law. While, by the way, the other side, using, as been mentioned, ambulances to move terrorists and ammunition from one place to another. They are using those civilian infrastructure, as I mentioned, as shield. They're using their own people as human shield. The IDF earlier today and yesterday opened a humanitarian path that allowed the people that didn't evacuate from the north part of Gaza Strip to move to the south and cross the Gaza River. The one that blocked them from saving themselves and used them as human shield are the Hamas. The Hamas attack our effort to open this road for civilians. That happened yesterday, and it's happened every day. So we're saying day after day after day that sure, and thank God there is asymmetric situation here, and we are the strong side, thank God. But there is also different other perspective for this asymmetric, which is the asymmetric imbalance. While the IDF do whatever it can to avoid collateral damage, to very surgically, very meticulously pick military target and try to avoid destroying the civilian infrastructure, although it's quite hard here in Gaza because the Hamas use those infrastructure as shield, as I mentioned. While we're doing that, the Hamas launching thousands of rockets. Actually, right now, there is rocket at the north and at the south of Israel right now. Try to target the center of our city and try to hit and kill as much civilian as it can. That's the way it works. So while the world, for example, speaking about our support to the citizens of Gaza, you have to remember that we are doing as much as we can, and we are very active to provide humanitarian support to the people that lives at the south part of Gaza Strip. The pipe of water that supply water from Israel to the south of Gaza is still running. The amount of trucks that crossing the Rafah checkpoint every day are not a result of the inspection or the existence of IDF, but it's a result of the ability of UNRWA and other organizations to accept those trucks. The sufficiency of UNRWA is 100% right now. It's accepting as much truck as it can. So we are not blocking humanitarian support. We are pushing as much as we can to the south. We are supporting the south with energy and water as far as we can, drugs and other basic supplies. We're saying to the people of Gaza Strip, save yourself, move to the south. While the IDF are fighting the Hamas and the Islamic Jihad as a terror group, right now the IDF already, in a way, created a kind of blockade around Gaza City and the towns surrounding it. So it's split the Gaza Strip to north and south, more or less north, a bit north to Gaza River. And the IDF moves step by step up to his plan, digging into the center of gravity of this terror organization. And we hopefully will be able in a few days or even weeks to destroy Hamas. We're saying all the time that this war will take time. Doesn't mean that the range of time or the scale of time that we mentioned will include this heavy airstrike attack all the time. It means that we'll have kind of a freedom of operation, and it will allow the IDF to clean the streets, to clean the neighborhood of Gaza Strip. Sorry. Speaking about the other arena, at the center, the area of Judea and Samaria, the West Bank area, we're fighting every day, try to prevent those cells of Hamas and Islamic Jihad to listen to the call and the push that come from Gaza and go out to the street and launch terror attack. So every night and every day, the forces in the area of Judea and Samaria are arresting mostly Hamas and Islamic Jihad terrorists. They arrested already over 1,400 terrorists since the beginning of the war, and they keep arresting and preventing those terror cells from launching their plans to our cities of Israel. At the north, we have two challenges. One is the Shia militia in Syria that get the support and a push of the Iranian, and we'll keep fighting very tactically, very locally, along the border between Israel and Lebanon, the Hezbollah, which is another proxy terror organization of the Iranian. We all waited for what Nasrallah, the head of Hezbollah, have to declare last Friday. The main thing he delivered to the people is that he's supporting Hamas. He was surprised by the attack of Hamas, and he said that it's all Palestinian war, which means in simple direct translation that is not planning to extend the war from the north, but every day I must say that is pushing one click forward and changing a bit the rule of the game along the border between Israel and Lebanon, and is very close to the red lines. And the situation along the border between Israel and Lebanon is still very fragile. Mistakes, miscalculation, or if one of the attack of Hezbollah will succeed more than he planned, could take us to a war in the north. IDF, from the other end, are trying to divide between the arena, try to be focused at what happened at the south, and defend at the northern border, and deal with it later on when we'll finish the we'll achieve our goal at the south. This situation, as far as I can tell right now, will continue for the next few weeks, and then we'll see. Saying and then we'll see because war is a dynamic situation and the context could change. When I'm speaking about a context, speaking about the international window, the support of the US and other, the changing in the area in the Middle East as a whole. The last thing that didn't been mentioned as strong as it should is the effort of releasing the hostage and the kidnaps. Over 240 people that under the custody, under the control of Hamas and Islamic Jihad. It's still a main effort, and I don't want to elaborate about it, but I just want to mention that all the echelon, all the layer of the leadership of Israel are dealing with it. The diplomacy effort, the military effort, it's part of the goal of this war has been mentioned, and it didn't push to the side. The fact that we're extending the maneuver into Gaza every day doesn't mean that we gave up this goal and this main effort of this war. I must say that from my observation over the last few days, the IDF maneuver and the IDF soldier getting better and better every day, learning the enemy, and the efficiency and the effectiveness of the maneuver getting better and better every day. So I'm very optimistic about our soldier. There was a lot of question mark about the ability to fight inside Gaza, and people spoke about hundreds of casualties and so far and so on. So far, the IDF show very high professionalism and the way that the leadership, the tactical leadership, and the soldier are acting on the ground are really to be admired. That's it. If there is questions, Steve, I'm willing to answer.
Major General Padan, there is one question that we have a participant has asked, and that is the following. Right now, as you've spelled out, there's an attempt to uproot the infrastructure of Hamas, particularly in the area of Gaza City, Beit Hanun, the other suburbs that envelop Gaza City, but it's the area that's north of the Gaza River. What percentage, and we're asking in general terms, maybe not specific terms, what percentage of the Hamas fighters and Hamas leadership is south of the Gaza River?
So it's hard to tell right now because of the dynamic of the war. When we're destroying battalion after battalion, and the IDF already killed 12 battalion commanders at the north. The Hamas and the Islamic Jihad sending terrorists from the south to support their friends at the north. So even battalions and organization of this terror group that were located at the south are not necessarily there anymore. So it's hard to say what is the specific percentage, but the center of gravity, the leadership, the chief of staff office, the center of the intelligence, the center of the ammunition and technology produced are at the north part of Gaza, at the area of Gaza City and the towns surrounding it. And it's the most crowded area of Gaza Strip. So when it comes to the citizens of Gaza Strip, more than half of the citizens that live in Gaza Strip live north to the Gaza River. Over 1 million people from a population that around 2 million. Okay, so Gaza City and the towns surrounding it, it's really the center of gravity of Gaza Strip, by all means.
Thank you, Major General Padan. And then, Major General Padan, if you could please comment on what I'm going to share right now, if you can also maybe elaborate upon it. One of the requests that we're getting from the IDF, besides the regular usual requests, is all of those buildings on the 4 bases in what's known as the Gaza envelope, Otef Gaza, where the Army Corps of Engineers is going to be rebuilding those bases to house and to base soldiers in those areas. We've been asked to rebuild the non-military buildings, meaning any military building obviously is something that the military does. All other buildings that for the benefit of the soldiers is something that we've been asked to rebuild. If you can describe to a certain degree to our participants those structures, those bases around the area, and just how significant and how important that is.
So we're speaking about the headquarters and the bases of Gaza Division. The FIDF had infrastructure that we donated to those units and those bases over the years. For example, in the headquarters of Gaza Strip, which is one base that include the headquarters of the division and 2 brigades, we had clubs and gyms and sport hall. It's been damaged and destroyed by mortars and by the fight that were in this base. To this base specifically, there were penetration of hundreds of terrorists on October 7, and people fight them actually inside those bases. So you can see those walls of the FIDF infrastructure full of bullets, with damage of RPG missiles and explosive devices. And we'll have to rebuild and renovate those infrastructure. The engineer of the Corps already do a basic check at the bases, and we have general assumption of what we'll have to do there. It's not an easy job to do. In some cases, we'll have to destroy and rebuild the building because the damages from the explosive devices are not allowed to maintain it. We're speaking about around $10 million that we'll have to spend along the bases of Gaza Strip. If I'm already speaking about what the IDF asked us to do, so that was one request that we got, and the other requests were to support the mental after action recovery of the battalion to be ready to treat the battalion that right now are maneuvering to Gaza Strip and surrounding Gaza Strip, and those that are fighting along the border between Israel and Lebanon. We have to remember, because we asked thousands of reservists to serve in this war, that the number of battalions are greater than we planned. So we'll have to cover that. And the third request that we got over the last few days is to build with the MOD and the IDF kind of plan to support PTSD and to reduce the amount of PTSD. So parallel to all the support that we did so far, and we did great, by the way, we did great things. We're working with the IDF and the MOD on those three efforts: PTSD, mental preparedness and recovery of units, and the building and recovery and maintenance of the infrastructure and FIDF facility along the border that have been damaged along the border between Israel and Gaza. And I must tell you that I met the head of ACA, the personnel command of the IDF during the Shabbat. He came to visit the headquarters that I'm located in, and we sat down to talk a bit, and he was so grateful for us, for the support, and mainly for the flexibility and the fast response to every request that they ask us. When the IDF bring a problem to the table, at the next day, the FIDF come with solution. So I'm taking this opportunity to say thank you to all of you and tell you that you're doing great. You're really making a difference. You're really supporting the real needs and the thing that will change the ability of the IDF to win this war. And it's allowed the commander and the soldier to be focused and what they have to be focused. We're saying to the IDF all the time from the very beginning of the war, focus on winning this war, and we will take care of all your spiritual and support needs at the back. We are backing you. We're not only backing you with equipment and money, but with our love, support, and care. And that means a lot, really means a lot. So thank you so very much. I'm taking this advantage. Every commander that sees me and remember that I'm working for the FIDF, ask me to send his love and thanks to you. So thank you.
Major General Padan, thank you. And please send all of our care and concern to the soldiers that are fighting in Gaza, that are with you there at the Gaza and the Southern Command. And please, God, look after Israel, look after our soldiers, and ultimately restore and bring peace to the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you.